Mr. Senate President, with all due respect, sir, the MSME sector contributes about 95%, to the workforce of the nation, meaning we cannot take this sector for granted. As it stands today, the exposure of deposit money banks is in excess of about 17.2 trillion, now given to just 50 customers. We've agreed that the MSME, to a certain level, will boost the economic revolution we sincerely desire. Now, we sincerely want to crave your indulgence, sir, at your level to help us prevail on the monetary policy managers to come up with practical solutions.
My question is a simple one. I see that NASSBER has done quite a bit, but I think one of the things that affects us in the private sector is the issue of taxation. I don't know if this is something that is central to what NASSBER is doing, and if it isn't, sir, is that something that you could perhaps look into? The tax regime, multiple taxation, redundancy of taxation to some extent, and I think the rate at which we pay. Thank you very much.
I think one of the things that I want to talk about, which is why we're all here, is the concept of made in Nigeria. I think that's one of the concepts that's been brought about to try and stimulate, not only small, medium-sized enterprises. And this, started sometime last year. I had the opportunity to visit a trade fair where a lot of manufacturers, entrepreneurs from Aba came to Abuja and produced a lot of stuff, from boots, T-shirts, etc. And we realized at that point that we needed to help them to bring that to the national level. We need to bring that discourse to the national level. And coming out of that program was when we went back to the Senate and said, what can we do just to see how we can stimulate SMEs? And we now amended the procurement law. We finally passed this in, I think it was June this year, where we now put a new section in the procurement law that makes it mandatory for government to ensure that our first option, they must buy locally produced goods. And if we consider that government spends on goods and services, plus goods and services, both consumables and capital expenditure, close to probably something in the region of probably 2.5 trillion. That creates a readable market for us to see how a lot of us entrepreneurs can target. And to show you that this really happened, after that, I've had courtesy call from different entrepreneurs who have come to my office, who are now using our office to lobby their case. I had a lady, she has a small industry, she produces envelopes, and she was telling me the frustration she's having, that government agencies prefer to buy imported envelopes instead of supporting our own business. And you ask yourself, how bad can this locally produced envelope be? I mean, anyway, the damn thing, excuse me, what is going to be in the envelope is probably not even worth the imported document. The point is that until now, there was no law that was ensuring that we will support locally produced industries. And I think that what we're doing now, we're just waiting for the House of Rep to concur on that and for the President to sign that. And then the oversight is all ours. And I think that NESG and Economic Summit Group can work with us on this, because there are a lot of industries that have factories that produce something that they believe that the quality is enough for government to support. And we know that a lot of the government would not want to buy that. They prefer to go and buy the imported. We can now play our oversight and continue to chase these agencies around and ensure. Let's try and think the two factors here. Not only will we stimulate locally produced industry because we now provide them a ready market. Secondly, we are going to see the fact that there's foreign exchange substitution. The demand on the foreign exchange also will come down significantly. So I think if we just work on this alone, I think it will have a great impact on the issue of SMEs. Just to talk, and then talking about the issue of central bank, I think we all agree from that point of view. that central bank should see how they can continue to provide special intervention funds in the right sector, largely, we will say, SMEs, agriculture, and mining. But the question is this: even though you're providing those special intervention funds for the SMEs, my own experience is that we have to also create the market. I mean, because as banks will ask them, fine, you know, how do you intend, who's going to take the uptake for some of your products? So I think this law goes a long way in creating the enabling environment that makes those business viable and possible. So I take your point. On the issue of taxation, definitely one of the things we're working on when we pass for this year, we're hoping we can do it, and when we pass the appropriation Act for this year, we're going to look at some of the tax regimes and also look at the custom and duty tariff and see areas of where they might need review. In the past, we have left that really at the purview of the executive, and this is something that we want to look at to see that, so that the appropriation bill is not just an act on expenditure. All over the world, it's not only expenditure, also, as you say, we look at revenues and look at fiscal incentives. So from that point of view, we intend to look into that and see what we can do. But again, as I said, this is a partnership. I believe that if the NASSBER also can play a role here in trying again to give us an idea of what your views and your thoughts are on some of these issues. I think the point we should take away from here is that I strongly believe that what we've tried to do in the Senate is to provide a platform that we're pro-business, we're pro-private sector. We believe that it is when the private sector thrives that the economy will truly thrive. But we are also limited because we're not the operators. And I think that partnership between you and us, where you tell us what will make you thrive, and then it is then our responsibility to act as quickly as efficient in creating that enabling environment.